And the courts have been ruling in favor of the homeowners and against MERS. And I was reading an article today I forget the financial paper, but they were saying that because of what's been happening with the mortgage securities, in other words, the banks have sold the promissory notes on the mortgage through securitization in the bond markets. In other words, they've been paid. And then the investors have been paid through AIG, and so who owns the home? And now the bank is claiming that they still own the home even though they've sold it, and these challenges have been going in favor of the average person who's in foreclosure. And I was reading that there's a possibility that there's going to be maybe $300 billion that's going to be charged back to the banks, and they might be prosecuted for fraud. Now, I just wondered if he's kept up on any of this.
Okay, have any thoughts on that, Bob?
Well, I have, and it is happening, and you're absolutely right. And what's going to happen is people who they can't produce the deed on are going to stay in their homes indefinitely free.
Well, the thing is that what you're talking about is a collapse of the whole financial system of our government, our country.
Well, anybody who's in foreclosure or faces foreclosure needs to immediately send a certified letter to their lender demanding the promissory note, and that's under Uniform Commercial Code 1-310. They have to produce that blue ink original note. Now, if they don't have that, if they've destroyed it, which they have, and I know why they have. It took me about 3 or 4 months to figure it out, but I know now why they've destroyed those notes. They don't have those notes because those notes were transferred to all those different investors who bought them, and the last person holding the note got paid from AIG. The bank has no interest in that home anymore, and yet they're still collecting money and payments and foreclosing, and then foreclosing the property, and then turning around and selling it and making unjust gains.
Okay, what are your thoughts on that, Bob?
Exactly the way you put it. Exactly.
Okay, then, Tony, will you keep us appraised of what's going on? Because this would suggest that people do have an alternative, okay?
It's called Uniform Commercial Code 1-310. They have the right for that promissory note, a blue ink copy, not some sort of affidavit or anything else, or a copy or anything else. They have that the original promissory note. The bank cannot foreclose without it.
Okay, thanks very much, Tony. And that's a fascinating alternative. Well, let's go to Dave, who's calling from Illinois. Hi, Dave. How are you doing?
Good evening, gentlemen. I've got a comment. I want to see if Bob Chapman agrees with me or not. You know, you don't have to be a trained economist or even be very smart to know that if you spend money like we are, the government, you're headed for a big a brick wall. I mean, they just can't keep doing this without crashing. Do you agree, Mr. Chapman?
Yes, I do.
I mean, again, I'm not an economist, but I'm no genius. But I mean, you know, you just can't do that without something really bad happening. And but what's going to happen? And when the day of reckoning hits, when it really hits, what's it going to look like in this country? Give me an idea on that.
Yeah, I think that the commerce will stop, the banks will close, the economy will operate by barter, and I think that in all likelihood, government will try to suppress the people. The military won't go along with it. I think they'll try to bring in foreign troops. And I had a top sergeant in the Marine Corps, which is called a gunnery sergeant, who's had 24 years in relation to this commentary, say to me last Thursday, he said, I can promise you no Marines will ever fire on American people unless they're fired at. And so with that said, I think that the powers that be are overestimating their chances. And he also said that if they bring in foreign troops, like I have said many times in the radio, they'll never go home. Well, that's what's going to happen in America if we can't do this legally through the system, which is through Congress and auditing the Fed and getting rid of it. And if we can't do that, all I can tell you is that the French Revolution is going to look like a picnic.
Well,
Well, let's hope that.
I mean, why do you think Goldman Sachs in New York City, everybody is armed to the teeth in their office, and they even have bomb experts traipsing around with dogs 24 hours a day to make sure nobody blows them and the building up?
I think that's really very interesting, the fact that the people at Goldman Sachs are buying guns. Why would the people in New York City at Goldman Sachs be buying guns? Obviously, they are worried to death. Anything else, Dave?
Well, I just think that we're headed for H-E-L-L, no matter what.
Well, I think we are too, but I think that the Christians have to be the bulwark and the stabilizing force in this country, and we've just got to point out that we're dealing with organized evil on the other side. Okay?
Absolutely.
God bless. Thanks so very much. Let's go to Vincent, who's calling from Virginia. Hi, Vincent. A quick question.
Hi, Dr. Stan. I was finishing up reading the book Proofs of a Conspiracy.
Right.
And one of the things that I learned in the old Illuminati's agenda was to, from their opinion, rid the world of using money, which caused unhappiness. Do you think this is their goal, to collapse the banking system?
What are your thoughts, Bob?
Oh, absolutely. And then they'll just grow a new one. And Proofs of a Conspiracy is a wonderful book. It was put out by the John Birch Society many, many years ago, and I'm sure Stan remembers.
But
it talks about the inception.
But of course, it was written, I think, in the 1790s by John Robinson, and it's the story of the Illuminati, a very real organization, continuation of the ancient mystery religions. We'll be right back.